Clang, clang.
What's up, y'all? This is the Blue Collar Philosophers Podcast. This is your favorite philosopher kickstand, being joined by the lovely Amanda Baudouin and her husband, Mike.
Excellent.
I get an honorable mention this time.
No titles for Michael.
That's the first time you've ever done your favorite.
You're just husband.
I am husband today.
Right.
Okay,
I'm lovely.
Last time Amanda came on, I had multiple people come up to me like, "Oh, I listened to the one with your wife on it." Like they wouldn't tell me about the ones they listen to me because they don't care. But the second you come on, they're like, "Oh, Amanda was on," and they were like, "Oh, this is great."
Immediately moving up in the world.
Which is funny because, well, okay, I haven't listened to the whole thing through yet, but
I haven't listened to anything in like 2 months.
at least you're honest.
Yeah,
But I feel like you interrupted me a lot, and you
oh yeah, totally.
rambled so long about our trip, and I'm like, okay, but we're talking about other things, about how I like to go on rides with you. And
My
stuff.
theory was you were nervous how it was going to turn out, so you decided to step into the driver's seat.
All right, now here's my actual understanding. I am a seasoned-esque. Like, not very good at this, but I've been doing it longer than Amanda, so I was like, oh, I need to lead this along, because if I don't lead it along, I don't know where it's going to go, or if there's going to be dead space, or just quiet time, and I'm like, no, dead space is just death. People are here to listen to my thoughts and what I think, and it's all about fucking me over here.
Okay, but if you're supposed to lead, then you should ask leading questions versus just taking over and talking the whole time.
But I'm worried you'll answer. So,
anyways, I didn't come on to talk about the last time I was on.
No, I just wanted to let you know that
We just had to bring it up.
Yeah, I had to, because I couldn't believe how many people listened, specifically because you were on. Like, they didn't listen at any point, and then they saw Amanda, and they're like, fuck, second time tonight. The second time, or that's the first time anyone's actually come and told me they listened. Most people, they just keep it to themselves. And they're like, no, Amanda was on.
Or they tuned in to hear her.
Yeah, that's
she
exactly
has friends.
Yeah, she does have friends.
I
Apparently,
did share
they won't.
it on my...
You did.
I think
So
I did.
there's people, if you bring somebody on who's never been on before and they share it, their friend group that is not exposed to us at all is all of a sudden exposed.
Yeah, like Jesse. Jesse is a good example of that. Kirk, another guy.
Even if it's only one or two, right? Then it kind of trickle effect.
Oh, yeah, because they're going to be like, oh, my friend has a podcast. It's not just, oh, there's a podcast in the world. But now it's becoming more and more, there's a podcast in the world because so many people do it. We miss the bus in a lot of ways.
Story of my life, man.
Yeah. Day late and $1 short. That's all right. So I hope everybody had a great Christmas. We are recording this before Christmas, but realizing we're releasing it after Christmas. And I hope everyone had a great one.
I hope Santa brought you cool shit.
And if you don't understand that reference, you go ahead and listen to our last one. Because you aren't listening to this because you're only listening because
Amanda's on, of course.
We're not good enough, apparently. You don't love us.
That being said, if anyone who listens because of me
let her know
has any great ideas about what Mike and I or Mike Devon and I should talk about,
yeah, bring it on.
Give us some ideas, because I'm always like, Mike, I can record with you anytime you need someone to fill in, and then
I never
it's
quite
like,
pull
well,
the trigger.
wait, what will we talk about?
I know, we were just talking about
fighting. We're just going to talk about fighting. It's just like, hey,
as a married couple,
yeah,
our
just
children.
like no, we just like love fighting, and everything that comes afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Well, like we were just talking about the episode we recorded a couple minutes ago, which is the one you heard last week, the one about Santa.
Yep.
And Amanda came down and we were chit-chatting about it, and then she brings up this awesome story, and we're like, "Oh, frick! I was like, I wish you were on for this part. That would have been
Which awesome
fascinating
story?
to
The
hear."
kids one?
Yeah, the kids one with their.
My kids all think Santa's evil.
Okay, no. So the kids have gravitated to this whole thing like Santa's not real. And we don't like push it on them, but every year we just remind them not to wreck it for other kids, either when they were in public school or at the Santa Claus parade or whatever. Just interaction.
Even with their cousins. Don't ruin it for your cousins.
Some
your
cousins,
I believe.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't think their cousins really push it anyways. But anyways, so they were eating Rice Krispies, and they realized they're like, that's how Santa listens to and watches all the kids, because Snap, Crackle, and Pop are
Our elves.
elves, and they
they're
spy on
everywhere.
the children, and so
Snap, Crackle, and Pop. That's worldwide shit right there.
That is. They're right up there with the cookie elves that make cookies in the trees, which is a horrible idea. I don't know if you ever seen trees. They're made of wood. It's right up there with the Newfie. Have you seen the Newfie wood stove?
The Newfie wood stove.
Yeah, it's a wood stove made of wood, and it's guaranteed to burn for 10 hours. It's
Mike
guaranteed
saw
for 10
this
hours.
like old ad the other day.
I don't know if it was
Oh,
old. I
okay.
think it was fabricated.
It might be.
Okay, because you're talking here, I'm thinking, you mean like a Swedish torch?
No, it's an actual stove made of wood made by Newfies.
But like, stoves made of wood freaking works though.
What?
Yes, 100%.
Fuck are you talking about?
Okay, I was talking about Swedish torch. So it's like a big log you get. You drill a hole all the way through the top to the bottom, and then you drill one at the bottom, at the base of the stump,
Oh,
perpendicular
that's what you're
through
talking
it.
about when I was doing on the stump
Yeah,
too.
and so it's got air coming from two sides of the bottom, and then from the top. You drop in some tinder from the top, you light it, and it starts burning inside, and very quickly it builds up a fire that shoots out the top like the jet of a gas powered stove.
Okay.
Put a couple rocks there, and you can cook on cast iron on it with like gas level heat.
And the
Really?
outside of the log would kind of insulate it. in a
Yeah,
bit.
the outside of the log insulates it, and so this inside slowly burns. Like it chars from the inside, but like you can use that thing a whole bunch of times
Really?
as a fucking stove in the woods.
Okay.
You just need a really good.
Your face is so serious right now.
No,
I take bushcraft. I take bushcraft very
it's like
serious.
witchcraft, but very butch.
See the beard? I'm a man.
Oh man,
Man's man.
the visuals here. You guys should record more on Zoom because Devin
that.
talks with his hands.
Fuck that. We don't
Everyone's
need.
missing out.
We don't need more evidence of our retardedness.
But yes, I'm
Butchcraft.
retarded lumberjack talking about his butchcraft. Anyway, yeah, so you can make a stove.
Swedish.
You can make a wood stove out of wood, and it freaking works.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So you got to build your house around this one stove, and when that stove's gone, you just
That's
move
not
your
what-
house.
We're not. I'm not taking legal responsibility for that. That's butchcraft.
It's bushcraft.
Butchcraft, not for inside the house.
I
That
have
is an
Newt.
outdoor activity.
Flint of
We do
birch.
that outside, like a dog.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, we have. Well, did we finish that story? Oh no, we got into the wood stove.
Sorry.
We got hijacked, and then kids. Oh yeah, the elves. So the elves on the Snap Crackle Pop Rice Krispie Square or Rice Krispie box.
They're the elf spies.
The kids were like, "Oh, that's how they spy," because they see these elf on a shelf bullshit, and we talked about it on the last one again, and yeah,
Well, last year in public school, I think at least one of the kids had a teacher that did Elf on the Shelf. Maybe someone else. And I'm like, that's just so much work. I'm like, and then you have to clean up after that little elf. And you have to come up ideas with all the time. Like, I have enough going on in the Christmas season.
all right.
Unless
Who
you
are
just
talking
Google
to?
it. You like Google
I mean,
elf
Google.
ideas.
Some parents are really creative. And so one of our kids was like, I wish we had an elf. I'm like, why? I'm like, it's so much work. You know the parents do it. And the whole premise of it is that the elf is watching you to report back to Santa, which is
He's
not
a
real.
snitch. We don't believe
So-
in
But
snitches in this house.
At the same time, even knowing like it's just a doll, you can still be like, it'd be fun to be like, that's where Dad put it today. Like, that's where it is today. I didn't see that one
How
coming.
creative
Like,
are my parents? It's like, I don't have time for that shit. I'm tired. You wake up 3 or 4 times a night. I don't have time for your shit. If you would just fall asleep and stay asleep,
then we could do cool stuff. This is your.
Maybe.
Oh, that's bad.
This is your fault.
That's epic level
I feel
gaslighting right
Catholic.
there. This
I
is
feel
your fault.
Catholic at this point.
If you
It's like,
help me with enough house cleanup,
no, don't blame me. I'm blaming
you can
Ki-
get an elf. No, I'm saying
You're just
like it
looking
could
at
be
me while you said
motivation
it.
for the children.
Sorry. Now I did what Devin does. I'll talk as if I'm talking to him, but I'm not talking to him. I'm talking to the.
I know every now and
void.
then I'll take
Anyways,
a
that was the story. The story was the kids decided all on their own that
Yeah, we should get an elf on a shelf.
That Snap, Crackle,
Oh.
Pop
But
are
we're
elves
snitches.
reporting for Santa.
Yeah, but we're rehashing stuff here. You had a thing. You had a thing you wanted to talk
Okay,
about.
presents. Okay, for a long time, when I first came to Fort St. John, well, before Fort St. John, I was poor. I could never afford to buy my family presents or gifts, so I hated Christmas because I can't buy my family anything. My kids, my brothers and sisters, I can't do it. I moved to Fort St. John. I was making a lot more money, and I'm like, shit, I can buy my family stuff. So I actually bought them things they may not even want or need.
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
could
capitalism.
I could buy them shit, and then I could, and then I stopped doing that job, and then I couldn't. But regardless, I hated Christmas because of the capitalistic side of it. It's all about money, it's all about gifts, and it's all about presents. And I became
Capitalistic, you mean consumerism?
yeah,
You normally say consumerism with me.
Sorry.
You're just
yeah,
adding
the consumer.
words.
Sorry, I've had a few whiskey, Mister. Just
Miss-
got here.
Excuse me.
Mr.
I
Boudouin.
am done my second. I don't know what you're complaining about. You could give me more.
I will. All right, so
You're getting Mike a second podcast in here.
I couldn't. Sorry for the noise.
He's literally got like an old timey gas.
If you look at our videos, you'll see a little gas thing. So
It looks
check out our
like an
video
old
with Kirk.
gas meter.
Yeah,
Gas
an old
tank.
gas meter that you'd fill up an old timey car in, and it's got a little handle, and it pours out rum, and it's fantastic.
So
I wish I liked rum because I would use it, but
Yeah, it's
I
a very
hate it.
sugar-based.
Well, you could put anything in there.
Yeah, I was gonna put Bullet, but it's so expensive to fill that thing with Bullet. I was like, rum's cheaper.
rum
Let's
is
go rum.
way cheaper than good whiskey.
All right, like I was saying, the consumer side of it, I really loved it while I had money, and then I got really mad again because I didn't, and so I became more and more like the Grinch. Watching the Grinch movie, Jim Carrey's, everything else sucks, and even the Jim Carrey one was only good for like the first 3 quarters, and then he gave the presents back, which fuck that noise, and you should see Moa's face. It's so disappointed. It's great. And so I got into this idea of, okay, I need to justify these feelings of hating buying stuff without being cheap.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I can't. I cannot justify my anti-capitalistic view.
Anti-consumerism.
No, this is capitalistic.
Oh, I thought you were a capitalist.
I am, but I was very edging on commie ideals.
Oh,
at the
that's right.
time.
You were fresh on the west from the east.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Quebec.
So I
full of
had a
commies.
full internal struggle for a long time, and I was like, man, how do I justify this thing? And I got to the point, and this is where I'm at now when it comes to gift giving during Christmas. God gave Jesus Christ, his son, as the perfect gift to all of mankind. Something we did not deserve, but he gave it to us anyways.
Okay.
And so in that, we share in giving of gifts as God gave gifts.
Unless you're poor.
Unless you're poor, in which, well, fuck you.
Michael.
See, this is why the wife never comes on. I'm poor. It's fine.
I'm so happy right now having somebody else be like, Michael. Thank you,
You
Amanda.
said it in
If
the
you-
tone that I don't think I use, but
If-
everyone who tries to impersonate me saying Michael uses that same
All right.
tone.
Can I try to get it right? Michael.
Please don't ever do that again.
Oh, you gotta try
Okay,
and
that's
tap
like a
into your
Mickey
Mickey
Mouse
Mouse.
laugh. Okay, so
Okay.
your story.
So-
Continue it.
Oh, where was I?
Someone's got to keep you guys on track.
Oh, yeah.
You need a third just to keep
fuck
you on
poor
track.
people. That's what I said last. It was a joke. I'm poor. I don't know how Christmas is happening. I don't know how my mortgage is happening come January. So don't fucking worry about me judging you.
Oh wow, this is going all over the place.
Yeah. So
Calm down, Mike. Take a deep breath.
I just need to justify my very my hate-filled words. All right. So to push that onto my kids, there was this, okay, if we're going to give gifts, we got to give gifts. And there's something that you did for a while. You don't do it anymore, and I love you. And I know my parents did it for a long time.
Anyways, okay.
It's the socks and underwear gift. And I still see it on Facebook today. Literally today is people, guys, mostly guys, always guys, wearing boxers and socks full of holes and saying, "Just hold on, Christmas is coming."
I saw a post about that today. I was
right?
like,
It's hilarious.
just 2 more weeks, guys. I did get you socks and underwear for your birthday this year, which is in October.
You know that's not people asking for socks and underwear. That's them
No.
poking fun at the convention. You're like, this is
Yes.
ridiculous that we're holding on to underwear this long.
Yes. And I hate that convention. You're getting socks and underwear. I'm a grown-ass man. You don't think I can buy my own goddamn socks and underwear? And I get really triggered because I'm like, your
Mike
necessity.
hates getting things that he needs.
I need socks and underwear. Mm-hmm. Why the hell is it a gift? And I just get triggered. I'm like, why am I having to hold out for this? Why am I expected to hold out for something that I need this.
It's a need of homeless people, and when they receive it, it's a gift to them.
Yes. Because
you're
they
not
have
homeless.
am I homeless? I have a job. I'm not addicted to crack anymore. I can't afford crack.
Okay, on that episode I listened to today, you made the same joke. Why is it so funny to you?
I don't know.
Okay, exactly which one?
Which one? The
He
addicted
just
to
like
crack
being
anymore?
addicted to crack.
Oh,
on the
okay.
Jesse
Did I
Braun
say that
episode,
on
he
that
said
one?
something about the same thing. Yeah, you said, "Oh, it just maybe you're actually it might have
Maybe
been
it was
coke.
cocaine and I just love the way it smells.
And you're like, yeah. And you're I was like, oh.
Crack and cocaine are two different
I
drugs.
rolled my eyes while I was cleaning the bathroom, and I was like, Mike, like, people don't know that
that's
you're
so funny.
joking.
Yes,
and
they
then
do.
you
At
did
this
give a
point, they do.
disclaimer on that one, and you're like,
And I always give a disclaimer.
do you?
I
For
obviously
the sake of your wife?
I need people to know that I'm not on drugs.
Is it like when you eat vegetables? You used to,
Used to?
back in the day,
There was a
we
time
only
when
had
he ate rabbit food.
one child and not 4. He still worked camp jobs, and he would be like, "Oh, there was all this meat for supper, and I ate all this great stuff." And he's like, "And I had a bit of broccoli because I could feel you nagging me in the back of your mind."
The thing is, I even told the
So-
chef about it too. I'm like, I can feel my wife nagging me. You better give me that.
So is this the same thing? Like, you give this disclaimer, like, I've never
don't
actually been
know.
addicted to drugs.
I don't
just
know.
for your wife's sake, because you can feel me saying,
Maybe.
Michael, in the back of your
Michael?
head.
Very.
Oh man, you guys sound like Mickey Mouse.
That's the
That's
point.
very purposeful.
We assume that all women sound like Mickey Mouse.
It's like Asians, they all look the same. Women all sound like Mickey Mouse to us.
But okay, Mike says Asian comments like that, and I'm always like, no, Mike,
Not always.
until you know them.
Until you know them. All beagles look the same.
Okay, with that, do you ever watch
Until you know them.
the Saturday Report, like the Saturday Night Live report?
Okay, Jesse Braun is so right. Like, tangents.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, we're talking about
Focus
racism.
in.
There's this great thing going on where Mike Shea will write a joke for the white guy. I don't remember the white guy's name for some reason.
I don't know who the hell Mike Shea is.
He's a black guy who does comedy on Saturday Night Live. He's very funny. He also has his own.
I'll
thing.
take your word for it.
Anyways, he's very funny. So the black guy will write a joke for the white guy, and the white guy has to say it, and then the white guy will write a joke for the black guy.
Oh,
to
you
say
were
it.
telling
so
me
they're
about this
racist
today.
on both sides. It's
Okay, yeah.
fucking phenomenal. And so the black guy always writes these like really awkward jokes of like, oh, this man in let's say Zimbabwe was arrested for, and again quoting somebody else, or at least the premise, for murder until they realized that they had the wrong black man, which also shows that they can't tell the difference between them either. Super funny jokes, except this guy has to say these jokes, and
Yes.
it's so
He doesn't.
good.
I think I've seen stuff like that pop up on videos, and you can see the discomfort. Be like, "Oh, you're making me say that!" Like they're reading it for the first time as they're doing it on camera.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so good. So when I say Asian jokes, it's not out of hate. It's out of it's funny.
I know. I want to comment on it, but your wife has called us out on our tangents, so I'm like, nope. Resist.
Where was I
I
going
know
with
it's
that?
true. I know it's a valid criticism,
I
but
have
it's so
thoughts
hard.
about Asian topics coming to my mind. And I'm holding my tongue so bad.
You should.
Oh,
'cause
you want a
you're
tangent?
three-
Do you want-
she's
do you wanna go
three-drink
down the
Amanda.
rabbit
She
hole
is
with us?
3-drink Amanda at this point. She'll go there.
Rabbit hole.
Well, did you say rabbit hole.
Rabbit
rabbit.
hole.
Rabbit
Why
hole.
would you
Yeah.
say Abbott? Who's Abbott?
Well, okay,
Abbott?
I've been to China and I've been to Japan.
Which was your favorite?
Japan is my favorite.
I know that, but
The food and everything. Whereas in, anyways,
there's less
okay.
Chinese people there.
That, no,
Is that what it is?
it has nothing to do with the people. The people are great no matter where you go.
That being said, if I was to
They're
go to
very
any
gracious.
Asian country, it would be Japan. Like hands down, like that looks like the most amazing.
They all learn English in school, so even if their English isn't super great, you can kind of like basic conversation.
Yeah.
Their language like Japanese is way easier because they don't have tones. Like in China, they have tones. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze and I can feel it coming.
Bless you. Bless you.
Pre-blessed knees.
I do it to him all the time. That's why he did it.
Half sneeze and I'll lose.
Okay,
Lose
so
it.
I made some silly comment. So my parents have been in Wales and they lived amongst Koreans and so I made a comment. I'm gonna probably sneeze again, but I made a comment about how I think I said something about how all the sushi restaurants in Fort St. John are run by Korean people, but I was like, but the Japanese came up with sushi. Like, it's a Japanese
Not
food.
according to Koreans. Koreans say that
But my
they
dad was like, actually, and he's the type of person that would know a random fact but not know anything else. So he was like,
That's why I get along with them so well.
so he's like, actually, because, okay, when I left Fort St. John to do missions, there were no sushi restaurants here. And my only true experience with sushi was like being on like Granville Island or Lonsdale Key with my Nana in Vancouver, and she would buy sushi and it always had seafood or seaweed on the outside. And so the first taste was this,
It's very
No
salty,
longer
briny.
well, not even crazy, but like half soggy because it's no longer crisp.
Yeah.
Like sushi rolls. And so, and you know, you can't pull the seaweed out of your mouth because it's starting to get soft. So I never thought I liked sushi. And then I went to Japan where you have real sushi, where it's the little pads of rice with like the raw fish on top. Mm-hmm. And then we'd go to sushi train restaurants. So it's like 100 yen, which is basically like $1.50 for like 2 pieces of sushi on a plate. And it's like a sushi train restaurant.
Do they
It's
do
super cool.
sushi rolls in Japan?
They do rolls too.
Yeah.
You can get rolls, but what's more common is like
Sashimi or something like that? What do they
Well,
call it?
sashimi
The
is just
sashimi,
raw
that's
fish.
just the fish.
Yeah.
It's like a fillet of it.
But it's,
So,
it's still sitting on a
it's-
pad of rice, isn't it? No?
no,
Sashimi is just the.
it's just the fish all laid out.
Okay. I'm
So
learning.
yeah, you pick it up with
Anyways.
pick it up and it's just fish.
Yeah. So then I am like, oh, sushi is great because the first thing you taste is not seaweed, like rolls
Yeah.
that I had experienced in the past. So anyways, so I'm like, oh, like sushi is Japanese. And so my dad's like, actually, like the pads of rice with raw fish on top is very Japanese, but sushi like rolls like is very North American, is actually Korean.
Yeah.
Koreans came up with that idea or something like that.
At least they
I was
claim
like-
it like they claim
I was like,
karate.
oh, okay. Because I think I said basically like Japanese are better at sushi than
Yeah,
Koreans.
I know
And Dad
that
was like,
Japanese-
actually-
No, you
Japanese
didn't.
and Koreans, like, they have a very
They're very-
adversarial relationship with
We
each
can't
other
tell
as
the
countries and
difference
cultures.
between who's fighting.
But I will
they're-
say I have not been to Korea, so I don't know.
Well, here's the thing.
I haven't experienced it.
Taekwondo, karate, and stuff like that are all claimed by different regions around there, where they're like, no, that's martial art. And they're like, no, it's ours. I know that sounds super racist, but it's funny. And so
He was literally pulling his eyes back to be slants. No.
He was not pulling his head back.
That's how you make the sound.
I'm
though.
trying to throw
You
him under the
can't-
bus here.
This is where like the loyal wifey comes in.
You're good.
Anyways,
You're a
you
good one.
didn't. Now I'm going to throw her right under the bus. She didn't just say that Japanese sushi is better. You said Koreans cannot make sushi as good as the Japanese because they're Korean. Which is the definition of racism.
I do not remember
That's
saying
not
it like that.
Okay, that's not racism because they're all the same race.
They're both
That's
Asian?
nationalism. There's a big difference between racism and nationalism.
All right. She's very nationalistic in the way that she thinks her sushi should be prepared. And it was, I asked you, I tried to clarify. I'm like, are you saying that Japanese people or Koreans cannot make sushi as good as Japanese. And it was fresh. Like, you were fresh out of Japan, so you were like very much like, I was just there like 2 weeks ago. I know.
I think
what
I was
I'm
in
talking
Japan
about.
in like late January, February, or was it February, March? And then I
Yeah,
came home
something
in
like that.
May.
Yeah.
So
I suppose that could be the case. Like, if, like, let's say, damn it, no, I didn't. Let's say the chefs in Japan developed a more rigorous training, or like higher standards for what they're doing for sushi, or just have more access to better food.
Oh, yeah.
It may be true that if you're looking for high-end sushi, the best shit to get is in Japan.
Yes, but
And
the chefs.
it's-
We're talking about not just the materials, but the chef themselves had to be Japanese. Did you want more drink?
Okay, well,
I finished
that
several. Do you have any bottles of water left?
More. We drank them all.
Oh.
That could also be a phenomenological truth, just from the sheer fact that the Japanese chefs would be experiencing it in the place that is producing high-level chefs.
Yes.
And so that you just wouldn't see...
So a geographical kind of
Yeah.
inflection.
Basically, for me to really cast my judgment, I need to visit Korea. So if
I'm trying to have your back here.
Yeah. She's
does
like,
Korea
nope,
accept
need to go to
unvaccinated
Korea.
people right now? And does
Probably
someone want to
not.
sponsor a trip for me? Because
Yeah.
Because we need to answer this damn question now.
We can't go to a music festival.
All three of us got to go to both Japan and Korea, try sushi. Sorry, Carissa, but you're getting left out on this one because
She
you weren't on
would-
the podcast.
She also
sorry,
would,
babe.
Would she eat sushi? Like raw?
Oh, hell no.
authentic? No. She's too
Hell
American.
no.
She's too American.
there is authentic
That is the
Chinese food is
truth.
very good. Authentic Chinese food. Chinese buffets in
I have
North
been
America.
to Mama Panda's. It's not that great.
It's shit, Mike.
It really is. It's shit, but I love it. But I know
it.
it's shit.
Like
a-
if you have not experienced real Chinese food,
Of course not.
then Chinese buffet is okay.
I've never had Chinese people in my life.
I mean, lots of people say that they get tummy aches the next day, or it gives them the shits or whatever.
It's because they're not used to
But
eating the straight MSG. Just
authentic,
grab a bag
real
of MSG
Chinese food
and you just
is-
start eating it.
So good, so good.
okay, what would be a thing that they would make that's different than
Well,
what
okay,
Seattle-
Every
Chihuahua.
time-
Chihuahua is a really good one.
Shut up, Mike.
Shih Tzu.
Shut up. Okay,
I'm trying to do what you did wrong
know.
last time and ask leading questions. Shut the fuck up, Mike.
every time we ordered, we would try something new.
Okay.
So sometimes that's just a matter of pointing at something at on the menu. So duck is really popular in different markets, right? You see the traditional like Peking duck, like that's slow roasted
that's what you
and
eat at Christmas
barbecued,
time
and
if you're
it's hanging.
Jewish. Like, there's a whole bunch of Jewish people that just had Peking duck 3 days ago.
What?
Really?
Well, that's like
Is that a thing
it's a
for
kind of
Jewish people to eat duck?
Yeah, probably. They got these. Like, I listened to Ben Shapiro today,
It's,
and it sounded like he was in somebody's bedroom. Like, I'm sorry, but Hanukkah just ruins my podcast life. It's annoying.
You're so kind. Such kind, loving comments.
It's I think it's a meme that comes from one of the Christmas movies where
Oh.
like, you know, like their dinner was ruined and so they go to a Chinese restaurant
buffet.
because it's the only restaurant open on Christmas Day. And there's a whole bunch of Jewish people there because they don't celebrate Christmas.
Have you seen?
funny.
Yeah. So
sorry.
that's where that joke comes from.
I just have memories of ordering a dish with duck. And most restaurants have like giant Lazy Susan. So the Lazy Susan is most of the table. And then you maybe have a foot of space in front of you of actual non-moving table. And so when you order for the group, you get a bowl of rice and all the dishes go into the middle. And so you spin it slowly and take turns. And you normally put 2 or 3 bites on top of your rice and eat that before you choose something else.
Sorry, do you just need to clarify? So you put the food on top of your rice. Do you eat the rice as you're eating it, or you?
Yeah,
like,
you eat a bit of rice with it.
Okay,
and you can
so you
always
don't eat
put-
like all your rice, or you can eat as much as you want because you love rice.
Yeah, it's not me being in China type of thing. It's
No.
just that I like rice.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just wondering, like, do you have like a bowl of rice and like half a piece of fish or
No,
whatever?
you
it
eat
is,
kind of the
duck?
stuff off the top with a little bit of rice,
Okay.
and then you put more stuff on top. Of
Okay, I'm just trying to understand it because it's weird to me. It is weird, like
And Like I don't
Okay.
want to get in trouble with because China's communist and we were not communists going
Unless
in.
they want to sponsor here. If they want to
But-
sponsor here, ni hao.
But we had a little cheat sheet from the people in Hong Kong who gave us orientation for China. And so it was kind of cool. They're like, these are the things. So like we would all often order kung pao chicken because it's said differently depending on where you are. And like Mandarin has 6 tones. So what you think you're saying might not be right if your tone is not correct.
But it was safe. It was like a, hey, if you order this,
Yeah. So we'd bring our cheat sheet and then we'd just show people on the, like, can we get your version of this kind of thing? And kung pao chicken, traditionally in China, they have this Szechuan peppers. And so they're good, but you can't have too many. Like if you eat 1 or 2, it's not a big deal because it does make your tongue numb. They look like peppercorns, but they're bright red.
Yeah, there's certain peppers that there's not just heat that you're experiencing, it's not just capsaicin, there's an element in it that will actually have a numbing effect on the inside of your
and
mouth.
Really?
It tingles, yeah. So you have to be careful. So, okay, so I have these memories of ordering a duck dish and literally, like, you eat everything with chopsticks. So you reach across the table for whatever dishes and you grab 2 or 3 mouthfuls to put on top of your rice and you eat, right? So I got pretty good with chopsticks. I had a single guy in China say, because they have this thing about,
you want to be my wife.
no, not
He
exactly.
didn't say that?
Not exactly. Basically, the further to
Did
the
not say that.
there's your eating end and then there's the other end, right? So the further back you can hold your chopsticks, it's like the sooner you're getting married or something like that. China has a lot of superstitions. Lots of Asian cultures do, like Japan does have some too.
Yeah,
But I was
also has to
mostly
do with
around
your-
Christians, whereas in China, obviously, it's communist. You're not allowed to be Christian, so there's a lot. There's just
Superstition is a human trait, not just a religious one.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more predominant in the Asian countries that I have been to. Like it really holds a lot more weight
with
and
the just like I'm trying to help you not be racist.
but
Joke. It's okay.
I get defensive when he says things like this. But I have been to
He's like,
China and
"Button
I've been
push."
to Japan. And I
those are
also
your
lived in
favorite-
Australia
those are
and
your
I've been to
favorite
Vanuatu.
places. I know.
So
Your privilege is well, we're well aware of your privilege.
I remember whatever duck dish this was and picking up a piece with my chopsticks and it was literally like half of a duck head. You could see half the head, half the beak, and probably the brains in it. And I remember just putting it aside and be like, I will just try a piece of just duck meat, not like because
you
that's
didn't want
basically
Bill.
what they literally do is like this duck is slow roasted. I don't know how much of a delicacy it is, and they just go chop 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 chop, and then they put it in the dish with the stir fry or whatever, right? So it's like
Talk with your hands is great.
All 3 of us have done it now. It's okay. It's ancient.
But one thing that was really good is we went to like
Hold on, you didn't. You okay? You. I'm sorry. I have to hijack it. You did not finish the story about being far back on your chopsticks and some guy coming to you and saying,
oh, he was telling us about how the further back you can hold your chopsticks, then the sooner you'll get married. But he also said, oh, you hold your chopsticks better than I do. And he's Chinese, like he's lived in China his whole life.
Are you sure he's not just like, hey,
Maybe that's a way of Chinese flirting. I don't know, but
you hold the
Or
you
it,
hold
or
those
it
chopsticks
could just
so
be somebody
nicely.
who's being charming. Like you
Oh,
don't
yes.
have to want to be hitting on somebody to be a charming
I
individual.
am
But also,
super charming.
in
I am
China,
almost too charming, and
think
it's
it's,
perceived as me hitting on
they
people.
give out little dishes of like appetizer type things. So there's normally peanuts, and I think it's pickled daikon, something white, and they cube it. And then there's normally a third thing. And so normally you have a few little snippets of these little things. But they can't say they're tea when they're saying peanuts in English.
so
So
it's
they're like,
peanuts.
oh, you want some peanuts?
Oh,
You want some
so
peanuts?
much.
And you're like, wait, what? Especially as like,
You're adolescent. You're like young teen. You were what?
no, I was 21 in Japan.
Yeah, but
In China, I was
North
20.
American. Yeah. But to them, you might have been a teenager because you were short.
the short age.
Wait, no, hold on.
Lots
China,
of
it
people
was a
are
lot of
short
short.
in
You were
China,
probably tall
but there
there.
are a lot of tall people too. No, I was short in China.
Really? That's
I would say Japan is more short people. I feel
Okay.
like. walking around. I'm trying to remember, but
Is it nice to like feel among your people like you're just like I am average height?
it's weird to look for people, like looking for one Chinese or Japanese person you know in a crowd of Chinese and Japanese people. So that's why I said they do look different once you know them. But it is still hard when you're even when you're in the country and you're like,
It's not an element of like being racist or something like that. It's just like we're all accustomed to discerning the differentiations in people's faces of people that we see all the time.
Yeah.
And there's heritable traits that we get from a certain lineage of places in Europe or stuff like that. So it's just easier for us because those are the faces that we're exposed
If
to
you
all
lived
the
in Fort
time.
St.
If
John,
you
you had
think
a
of-
ginger friend with curly hair, and you saw a ginger person with curly hair, you'd be like, "Oh, that's that person." You're like, "Nope."
Isn't there like a festival or something in Ireland that is like it's like full of gingers,
Yeah, probably. And I'd be like,
redheaded
"I'm
people?
sorry."
If you went to that, it would be hard to find your redheaded friends.
Yeah, you'd be like,
Even though it's the one or two
Normally you're
people
like,
you know.
oh, there he is.
"Yeah."
But just like even you two, you both have beards. If you're in a group of motorcycle,
I'm sorry.
motorcycle,
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I'm
if
sorry.
you're in a
No.
group of club people or motorcyclists,
We are say different shapes, but let's say
it would not be hard for someone to be like, "Oh, it's a bunch of white guys with beards."
If somebody
Well,
pulled
yeah,
out
that's true. That is true.
one of the national run pictures where there was like 40 of us all sitting like in a
Okay.
line up there. and
My husband's the one with
let's
the
say
beard.
You put that in front of somebody from Asia who doesn't spend time with white
or
people,
even Europe.
or Europe, or
I don't think they're as bearded in Europe, are
Any-
they?
or
clean
even
cut.
somebody from like OC, OC California, Orange County, California,
Be like-
and be like, "Hey, pick out Mike from that one," and it might take them a minute to be
He's
like,
got slightly
nope.
dark hair. He's got a
Nope.
beard, and he's white.
They look at that one. Oh no, that was Casey. Nope, sorry, good guess. That one there is.
He's smiling with his mouth
That one there
closed.
is Fever.
Always and forever smiling with the mouth
Smiling with
closed.
his mouth
Like,
closed.
right?
He
Like,
has glasses.
But if bikers have a look,
Yeah,
and
most of the time it's a beard.
there's a beard, there's a bandana,
Unless
there's a
they can't
leather,
grow
there's a
beard,
leather
which they
vest.
try
You
anyways.
put them all in the same. Yeah,
Who wants to try one?
we're all middle age. You put them all in a big lineup and try and pick one out just offhand. Yeah, not the easiest thing in the world.
I still don't consider under 40 middle-aged yet.
What
Oh,
are you
I
talking
just
about?
feel old.
No, I'm sorry, but
I still sometimes feel like I'm
no,
like
you're an optimist.
21-year-old Amanda that was
You
in
ju-
Japan. Like,
You just don't want to see your husband.
I mean, I wake up more tired, but I have 4 kids, so I think
Yeah.
that's excusable.
I think I'm
stopped-
middle-aged.
I stopped feeling like I know what you're saying because I felt like that for a long time. Like I still thought of myself as young Devin. I think maybe like 3 or 4 years ago that just switched, and now I'm like,
You're not much older than I am, though.
no, not
What
really.
are you?
Not at all.
I'm 30. I'm 36.
Okay, I'm 34.
Yeah, like it's just there was a couple years ago where it's like a switch flipped. I'm like, oh man, no, I feel like an old guy now.
yeah.
Mike realizes that when he's around young people, because
Oh,
you think
young
of like young adults as like
All right.
20 to 30, right?
So I had an experience today.
Oh, today.
I had an experience where I was in line at Canadian Tire, and there was a. I'm going to put this as respectful as I can with my wife here. A young lady in her prime. Anyways, I tried not to notice her.
That's a relative term, Mike, in her prime. To you or to her?
To her. And
Okay.
anyways, so I was like, oh, there's a young lady there, good looking girl. And then the guy behind me is like, oh man, they don't make them like that when I was that age. I'm like, yeah, they're really pretty.
He said that
to
loud
me.
enough that you could hear
Yes.
in the store with
She
her
had
like,
already
in front.
she had already gone to the till.
Oh, my
so
goodness.
She couldn't hear him.
You know you live in Fort St. John when?
So he's like, "Oh man," she's like, "Man, they didn't make them like that when I was a kid." I'm like, "Yeah, they're really pretty till they talk." No offense, but most 20, 21-year-olds around that age, they're really smart till they start talking. And they're like, "Oh, you're pretty. Oh, you're very pretty." But I don't think you know anything.
Yeah. That being said, they made him like that when you were that age too. You just obviously were not a person who spent much time with
No. new. And this is an older oil field guy. He wasn't like
Yeah.
my age. He was older than I was. And I said, I'm like, they're really pretty. He's like, I don't care how dumb they are as long as they can. I'll pay the bills. And I'm like, yeah, you can pay the bills. I can barely pay my
There
own
gets to a
bills.
point
Like,
where it's like,
I'm
there's-
constantly deflecting. I'm like, I don't need any of this. I'm just going to deflect. Yes, I recognize that she's
This
a
was the
good-looking
guy
girl.
today?
Yes.
Said all that stuff?
Yes.
In line?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It's
He
okay.
needs more friends
No.
that he can rant to,
No,
man.
no. The problem is he does have friends, and they're on the oil field, and that's the way oil field guys talk, and it's fine. It's just I'm like, sorry, that's their echo chamber. When you're in that echo chamber of good-looking
True.
girls,
Echo chambers.
I've got a different echo chamber. Devin's my echo chamber. Your brother, which
Oh,
is
that's
not
the
much
problem.
better, is my echo chamber. People who disagree with me, but I can have conversation with, but we don't denigrate women in the same
Yeah.
way because we're married. Happily married.
Yeah, happily married, not
my
like-
wife has told me that I'm happily married, so I know I am.
Not like fake happily married. Just like
Like, for real.
For real.
for real, guys. Really real.
Like I wouldn't. Okay, if I was unsure of myself in any way, I wouldn't have brought that story up with my wife here. I'm like, no, I even said this to the guy. I'm like, yeah, she's really pretty till she starts talking.
No, but I just listened to the Jesse Braun episode where Devin was just praising how loyal you are. So
I am the best. Everyone needs to know this.
no fear in my life now.
Hold on. Listen to the next episode when he's ripping on me for being me. Next episode with Kirk,
Did I?
Eventually, at one point, I was listening to a little bit of. There it is.
Yeah, there's the point where the brotherhood
Yeah.
ribbing
I was
comes
starting
from.
to
ribbing.
talk about my cultural experiences, and I feel like that was a really
I'm sorry, but I
long
thought
tangent.
you showed everybody your cultural.
We can do a whole episode on just where I've been and how I
No,
felt
we
about
can do
all
that
my
right
different
now.
places.
It's fine.
No, it's
people
fine.
are just listening. It's great. If they're doing this during Christmas break, they have nothing better to do.
Nothing better. This is the high point of.
or
If you're
they're
listening to
looking
this
for
at this point in the
reprieve
year,
from
this is
their
the high point of
family
your
and their
life. And I
children.
feel sorry for you.
Just need to get away from my aunt,
That's true.
my father-in-law. Fuck
We
that
were.
guy.
You said we wanted to talk about presents because Christmas has just happened when we release this.
Yeah, how the frick did we get from that to China?
I don't know.
Wow, this really took a turn.
All right.
We'll
really-
have to all go
Oh,
back
we were talking
and
about homeless
listen.
people and
I
poor
really
people, and then we
enjoyed
got to
it, though.
Asia.
Okay, I really enjoyed it though. Just Amanda, like that was
It's fun.
an
Like
enjoyable
anyone who's
tangent.
my Facebook friend can go find. I think I have a Japan album. I probably have a Hong Kong album and a China
Oh.
album.
She loves Hong Kong. Like, I'm sorry, but that's when I fell in love with you, was when, like, following a bit of that trip, and I'm like, not being able to talk to her. You know, just
Hong Kong was fun, but it was a waiting game getting into China.
yeah,
So there were lots of experiences.
yeah.
Some not in pictures that I probably journaled about.
What
if I go
happens in
back
Hong
and
Kong stays in Hong Kong.
Mostly because they won't let it leave.
we have pictures. Is it Jet Li? We have pictures posing by his thing.
Are you sure it's Jet Li or
I don't know. They all look
It
alike.
was
They all
not-
could be
Same.
Jackie Chan.
It was not Jackie Chan, or maybe no, because he's
Oh wait, maybe
Could be a random generic Chinese superstar.
some guy.
Huge in Japan, but we don't know.
We took the overnight
Bruce
train
Lee? Is
into
it Bruce
China.
Lee? It was probably Bruce Lee,
Bruce Lee, yes,
not
thank you.
Jet Li. There's a fucking huge.
Oh my gosh, I love it when a joke pays off. It was a different Asian guy.
Guys, it was definitely Bruce Lee. But if you ever go to Hong Kong, they have amazing fireworks. They have amazing fireworks. Okay, we'll have to
course
do
they
it.
do.
We'll have
Of
to do an
course they
episode
do.
where
That's
I talk about
racist.
all the places I've been and the highs and lows of every place.
Okay, cool.
What? You
That,
had
that would
loads?
actually be it interesting. I would
Yeah,
listen to it.
that would be interesting.
All right. So presents.
All right,
things you
presents-
hate.
Things
Grinch.
I hate. Necessity. You should not. A present should not. Okay.
Don't
I
buy
have
socks
rules.
and underwear and call it a gift.
Yes.
I mean, unless you're giving something to charity.
Now the
with
problem
people that
is
need it.
there's far too many people out there that when they buy a gift for them, like when they buy a gift for somebody, it has to be extraordinary. My goal for a gift, because I'm cheap to myself, is that I've had to condition myself to do this. This is not something I come naturally to, of something I will not buy for myself. And the problem is I buy a lot of shit for myself. So like I said, I've conditioned myself to
The problem
discipline
is-
and not right before Christmas too.
The problem is his birthday is also in October.
It's not fair. It's
So-
not my fault.
fall starts coming, and he's like, "Oh, I want all these things." And sometimes
I didn't get them for my birthday, so I got to buy them for myself
this year he's really good, but some years he's like, "Oh, we have like a bit of like some, sometimes when we do have money available, the reprieve is in the fall." And so his birthday comes and Christmas is coming, and he updates his Christmas wish lists on Amazon or on Elfster, but then he buys this shit too. And I'm like, Mike, you cannot start buying yourself stuff in October and December when I'm looking for gift ideas for you.
But I want
Oh
it.
my gosh.
But I'm also super reasonable, so I'm like,
Oh, super reasonable. It's annoying. She's
I'm
like,
like-
I want pots and pans.
no, I don't. I'm
Kidding. It's
maybe
a joke.
I might be the odd wife out, but I'm like, if our family needs a blender, don't buy me a blender for Christmas.
No. But that's what I mean by necessity. You
Whereas-
need this thing. Don't buy
I've
it as a
recently
gift. It's
seen
like your welcome
homesteaders that are
family.
like, yeah, give me all the appliances for Christmas. And I'm like, no. If it's something random that only I'm gonna use, then it's different.
Mm-hmm.
But like, for example, I asked for a cast iron frying pan
Last year.
last year, and he got it for me for Christmas.
When did we
I've
did
used
we
it
do it?
once or twice.
No.
I've been scared to season it, and I only used it tonight. So it's been almost a full
Once.
year before I actually
Once.
I know
have used it.
seasoning cast iron shit scares me. I'm like, I don't want to fuck this up.
Well, and then you have to set aside all this time to be like home and have your oven at like 400, or if it can go higher to like. And Mike's like, well,
Once.
Yeah, it's
he
a
made
project.
a good point.
One
He's like,
year. 1 year.
he
Whole
made a
year.
good. And one year when we were newly married, I was like, oh, one day when I have time, I'd love to make scrapbooks of like our wedding and like Gideon's.
So what do? I go out of my way
So
to
for
buy her
Christmas-
everything scrapbook. Like
Yeah,
I
he
spent
got me
hundreds of
scrapbooks.
dollars.
He bought me all these things. I have not completed a scrapbook.
Not one.
I started at one point.
Did you?
Yep.
Oh.
I printed off a bunch of our wedding pictures
Right.
in like regular 5x7 size.
One year she's like, I want to learn to make sushi. I bought her all the sushi shit. We done sushi
Sushi-
once.
Things to make like pressed sushi or rolled sushi.
I
and
am
we
a-
used it once.
I am a what do you want and what are you not going to buy yourself. I can distinguish between what are you not going to buy yourself and what do you want.
So obviously you're not succeeding at that because they're not landing.
No, I'm buying exactly what she thinks she wants.
The problem is we have 4 kids and they take up a lot of time.
Fucking yes.
I love them. They're finally like, the girls are finally like, oh, I'll try that spicy thing. Oh yeah, actually it's not
Yes,
bad.
but they're also baking. Like they're like, hey, I want to try.
Oh yeah, and all of a sudden
making
they're
this
into
thing.
baking and cooking. So they're like,
I'm like, oh
I
snap!
chose this recipe, and it's like, okay, but then like
You're not ready, or
we can't eat it fast enough, and then like we have a moldy cake upstairs with a lid on it to
Do we?
stop it from drying out. Yeah, I checked on it. Like I can see it now. It's like a chocolate
growing.
banana cake
Has a
because we
name.
had frozen bananas, and that's like, oh shoot,
it's cultivated again.
it was enough to make 2 9x9s, and then it's like, anyways,
Thing is, you
I need
can't
to deal with it.
You can't reward your kids with cake every single night. We're like, oh, you made the cake, but we don't have time to eat it every single time when you don't finish your dinner. They're not gonna finish your dinner. I'm sorry, but
well, and you're
game
trying to
changer.
encourage too, like not to have so much junk.
yeah, you can make the junk, but you can't eat the junk.
Yeah. So you and I both messed up a little bit when it comes to gift giving. Is we married very humble, like, beautiful, but humble and non-pretentious women. So we can't just throw
Yeah.
glittery shit at them. It doesn't
No,
work.
I tried. And then there's me. I'm like, you give me money, I'll spend it. You give me motorcycle parts, I'll put it on. I will tell you exactly.
Yeah.
You give me a fixed blade knife every single year, I will be giddy. You look in that drawer, you're gonna find 4 or 5 knives. You look behind your
Don't
head.
use them, but look at them and be like,
So-
glee.
Mike
I
did some
love
more Christmas
knives.
shopping today, and I don't know exactly what he bought, and this is going to air after Christmas, so I can talk about it. So, for example, our oldest 2, our son and our daughter, have pocket knives, like multi-tool type pocket knives. But Gideon, our only boy, hasn't really had much of a chance to use his pocket knife. And then we're trying to contemplate, like, what's their, like, bigger gift? And our bigger gift is still under 50 because that's what our affordability is at right now.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's just where we're at.
Because
You know-
going into debt for Christmas is bullshit.
Yeah, no, fuck that noise.
But when you have a kid that's kind of like, I like stuff.
I like things.
It's hard to
unless
be
I
like-
don't. Unless I do.
You know, it's easier when they are really passionate about a certain thing, right? But it's like, oh, we have a decent amount of Lego, like, unless he's, it's kind of ebbs and flows, right? So then Mike's like, oh, we could get him a knife. And I'm like, but he doesn't
No,
even
no,
use
no,
his...
no. Not just a knife. A fixed knife. A
Okay.
fixed blade. Like a...
I saw it as a picture of knives.
no, it's
Knife
a
objects.
fixed
Knife.
blade. It's not just a regular knife. You see, there's a pocket knife, which
There's a
folds
hierarchy
out.
there's a hierarchy of blades.
There is a hierarchy of blades. If you look behind your head, there's a fixed blade. If you look in the drawers, there's a fixed blade. If you look over there, there's a... I'm pretty sure I have a folding knife somewhere. Yeah, that one is a rat tail knife that I had to put... There's knives. I just love knives. I'm just a whore.
I could get a knife every year for Mike for his birthday and for Christmas, and he would not be disappointed.
Nope.
So our son is 10.
And I want to get... I'm like, what do I,
I
get
wouldn't
this
say
kid
he's
who doesn't have
strongly
any
passionate
desires?
about any one thing. He's creative, but like even in the summer, I have to like coax him outside. Like you have to spend half an hour.
No, in the summer, yes, but in the winter, you tell him to go outside. He's like, all right, cool. Did it snow? I'm going to go build.
No, but I've implied to him. I've said you should work on your fort today because it's not very cold, and then
No, it has to be like minus 15 for him to go outside. I don't understand this kid.
But okay, like today, I could have been like, you guys have to go outside. But I was busy cleaning. Like I cleaned the bathroom. I cleaned behind the fridge. So when I'm intent on cleaning, I'm not going to stop to interrupt the kids and be like, do these things.
Yeah.
So once they're outside, they're okay for a bit. And today would have been a good day. But I didn't enforce that kind of stuff today. Mike didn't have a long work day, so,
I got other stuff done. You got other stuff done. It's
But
just-
still,
Yeah.
you failed to put them outside, is what I'm
I
gathering
did.
from this
I
whole
should have
thing.
kicked them outside. Buck naked. You'll learn.
And sometimes they're like, I'll go outside if you come, Mom. And I'm like, I'm doing a million other things. Like,
I
I'm not...
think I have time to go outside and play with you. And by play, I mean
I'm just
watch
not
you
heavy
play.
on the chore list. I'd rather just get it done. And if I can do a good job and be thorough and, they're
your
not
grandmother
fighting.
is coming to town and you are trying to prepare for that.
Oh, yeah. We kind of briefly talked about this today. I told my kids, so I'm homeschooling for the first time this year. And we've done our main unit. Only my son, out of 3 kids, only one is currently doing math to complete the first book this year. Mm-hmm. Or, by Christmas. What are you signaling? That you should put more in my glass?
No, this was okay. Sorry, I'm hijacking. You
It
can't
was,
see.
it was about a
over-
half inch below your finger.
The bottle of Bullet.
Was
Vocal.
3/4 full. It's not a very big. It's
It
only
was at
750 mils.
3/4, and now it's probably...
We
It's
are
just under a quarter.
destroying this.
But I've had 2 of Bullet, right?
No,
Like,
you've had whiskey. No, you had rum, Bullet on the first one, rum on the second.
rum on the third.
No, rum on the.
And everybody can tell because we're all over the place right now. So, okay, anyway. Where is this tying into the knives? The fixed knife thing? The presents?
Oh, yeah. So today we're like, Gideon, we need more ideas because he had basically told us... He basically had given us a list that said Spinny Toy, which is something that we just went to a homeschool Christmas party, and one of the kids won this prize from the dollar store that was kind of a spinny toy, and he likes it.
Like a
So-
dreidel?
No, like a dollar store, $2 toy.
I think it's called
Not
a
even- not even a
gyroscope
top.
something.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And he said, what else did he say?
A flashlight.
And a flashlight.
He wants a flashlight or a $2
And it's
toy.
like, sweet. I love when the kids give us simple ideas. But at the same time, when you're all trying to get them a toy around...
Amanda's very calming in this way of everything needs to be the exact same price.
I think all parents with multiples do this. They try to spend the same at Christmas time.
See, my dad, when he was a kid, had the exact opposite. Like, they got bowls that they were filled with presents and treats. And the oldest got the biggest bowl every year, and it went systematically smaller to the youngest kid, and that's how it was.
Can you imagine being 18 and you're like, oh, I'm tired of
So-
getting this friggin' bowl.
Okay, Devin, you have no idea about this concept because you only have one. But I can guarantee any other family with multiples is like, yeah, we try to spend the same amount. That's not an unusual thing.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
right? If
Yes.
That kid is one partnership away
So-
from a partnerhood.
Obviously,
fight away from a
in my
partnership.
head, I love giving gifts at Christmas. We don't spoil our kids crazy. And so they get gifts for their birthday and at Christmas time. There's not really like, every time we go to Walmart, they don't get a present.
Yeah,
every
we talked
time,
about that already. We didn't mention that.
Okay, yeah. So I feel like that's already pretty practical for a low income family. And so it's like, okay, so we're looking for things, the baby of the family. I'm like, we've had this play kitchen for over a year now because I think we gave it to them maybe 2 Christmases ago. And it's like, it has elements on it. And we don't even have play pots and pans. Okay, well, who plays with the kitchen the most is the 3-year-old right now. The other girls play with it a bit. But so it's like, okay, perfect.
They are very entrepreneurial in the way that they think, where they're like, this is now a store. I'm going to make money. And it's like they put
they'll play
prices on
store
everything.
or restaurant or
I'm
whatever.
like, it's amazing that kids always. Do you remember doing that when I was a kid? If we found a building that was slightly derelict, we'd be like, this could be a store, and we like turn this little tiny lean-to into a possible store. We're like, hey, what could we do? What could we make this into? And we actually looked at these tiny places in the middle of Saskatchewan. Well, like I lived in a village called Punachai.
Okay.
And there was a lean-to shack next to the arena, and upon looking at it, I'm like, this could be a convenience store. We could turn it into, and this was like 12 years old, and I'm like, we could make this into something. How much money could we make? It was all about making money. Almost immediately. Even as a kid. You remember doing, what do you call it? Lemonade stands?
I was telling you about this recently.
Yeah.
So me and my siblings, when we were younger, had lemonade and iced tea stands. And when we lived on, I think, 98th, at the end of the townhouse, right by the Lutheran apartments, we started having lemonade and iced tea stands. And we made, we charged 25 cents a glass, 10 cents for a refill. And
best iced tea / lemonade in town, apparently.
It was decent enough. It was like...
Yeah, but you had
So
kids
then-
around the neighborhood try to do the same thing.
So across the street, kids from the apartment were like, well, we can do better. So they had one too, but it wasn't... We had a sign that people could read from across the street. Anyways, okay, so basically, then we moved out to Charlie Lake, 1 acre on Charlie Lake Crescent. If anyone knows the area, there's a boat launch. So in the summer, we go to the end of the driveway, and we have our lemonade and iced tea stand. If we had time, we'd make cookies too. Same price, 25 cents a glass, 10 cents a refill. Because cups are probably the most expensive part of any stand.
Yeah.
And we had a little family club, and I remember writing, I think I must have been the appointed secretary, note taker. But because it was an acre and my dad had...
Are you surprised by that, Devin? Are you surprised she was
Nope.
the secretary?
Not even a little.
When I was on like the church board too, I
You
would
were the same thing.
CLT, I'd always take the notes.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Makes
end
me
of the
believe in
driveway,
predestination. Always the note
Oh,
taker.
you're a Calvinist now.
people going to the boat launch or whatever because it's summer. Sometimes
Yeah.
we'd have Americans, sometimes we'd have just locals.
Just randos and
Yeah,
locals.
but we had a club, and I remember having a notebook, and we'd have to pay my mom back for supplies.
She was in a club and she became secretary.
But it was a family club. And I remember, like, did I come across it? Or maybe I just remember writing it down. But I remember being like, oh, when we make this amount of money, or like, we had goals. Like so it was an acre that my dad had cleared himself. And so for a long time, right behind the house, we had
Oh,
these
yeah.
pile of trees.
We're going to make a tree for
And
it.
Dad had said he would build us a tree for it, which he never did.
Are you telling me Nick the procrastinator never made you a tree fort?
Never. But we
I can see
designed
Devin
it how
trying
we
not to
wanted the 4 walls, and we wanted bunks built into the walls so they wouldn't take up more space in the fort. They would
Yeah.
be like recessed. Is that the right word? Into the
Yeah.
into the walls. And I was like, when we make, whatever we thought we'd make, we want to buy a table and 4 chairs and different things. But of course, we were kids. And so our follow through to keep the club going year after year got old really fast.
Hold on. How many years did you keep? Like, were you like 16, 17 before you quit, or what?
No, because we were younger than that.
Yeah, I know. I just
All I can say is both of you, as kids, were far more grounded than I was.
did you not do any entrepreneurial effect?
No,
We didn't.
My head was much more in the clouds than any of that.
What do you mean much more? What could you do bigger than
Did you
owning a
have an
business?
allowance when you were younger?
I had an allowance too, but we were
You
poor.
had an allowance?
Like $2
We did not have an allowance.
a week.
Sometimes,
Literally a
when I wanted
toonie.
to make extra money,
I don't remember any consistent allowance when I was a kid. It was, that was never really a thing of like doing chores for a certain amount of money that you were allowed to have, and then you would go spend that.
No, it was just like money my parents gave me was like $2.
Yeah,
But this is like
if there was a time when there was allowance, it was never consistent.
all right. So when you say you were not entrepreneurially
I was
leaning,
I don't know. I think I was just more into fantasy in general.
Dungeons and
I was
Dragons.
going to say, did your dad have money when you were a kid?
Yes, he
like,
did.
could you just
Ish.
get whatever you
No.
wanted when you wanted it?
No.
No?
No, like we didn't grow up rich.
Oh,
and
you
we
guys were
would've-
doing house flipping. That's right.
Yeah, house flipping, but like my dad was a laborer. Like, yeah, he had his own business, but it was like doing labor, and sometimes in hard times, sometimes in good times, but the good times came along much more when I was like a teenager or something like that.
Yeah, when you had a Dodge Stratus.
Yeah, which I bought. Like I legit worked for that one.
do
but
you know
my concept of work came as a teenager where I got a job like
you see that
basically
Will Ferrell?
working on job sites.
Did you see that Will Ferrell bit of I drive a Dodge Stratus?
Yes, I did. And I laughed fucking hard.
So when I said that, I'm like, I knew you had a Dodge Stratus, and as soon as you told me, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I believe me, I saw that and I laughed and quoted it many a time. I'm an important person. I drive a Dodge Stratus.
Okay, when did that sketch come out for you? Were you in high school when you discovered it?
Oh, it was Will Ferrell in SNL. He was in that like when I was in college.
Okay, so it was like in your prime.
Yeah.
College.
But anyway,
I didn't go to college.
Yeah, Devin's
Neither
the
did
only one.
Mike. Devin's the only
Devin's
one.
the only
dropout.
one.
Of course, dropout. Obviously.
It's funny how peer pressure
Except-
is like I can't
but you
be
went.
somebody who completed it. I gotta be among the
Yeah.
dropouts. I am the dropout of dropouts.
Yeah. But as a kid, like no, I wasn't surrounded by money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I don't know, the things I was interested in as a kid, I don't know, like they didn't really revolve around the real world at all.
No?
I can't remember anything like
Like
that.
what kind okay, when you said you're we'll call it prepubescent inklings were
Preteen?
Childhood?
No, prepubescent.
Yeah, that's preteen, Mike.
Yes, but it's far more fancy to say what
That's
I
like
said.
8 to 11.
Yes. What were your inklings? You said fantasy. Were you like, what do you mean by that? I'm trying to understand it.
Oh, it would have been like
We didn't have internet or Nintendo and any of that shit. It was get outside, go there till dark, and then come home.
okay. Well, I mean, I did have a Nintendo for certain years. Like I had the original NES for a long time.
Yeah.
But like, let's say it was like fantasizing about being cops and robbers or Indians or like some kind of like I don't know. I was like really into action movies, so like
Yeah.
me and my friends, we like when we got toys, it was toy guns, and we
Yeah,
would,
yeah.
like we played at murdering each other.
Oh
And,
yeah. Oh no, I did that too. But we also did the hey, we can make a store here. Cause
yeah, like I know. I just that the let's make a store here thing. Like that was never an inkling I had until I started working.
Oh really?
Yeah, just wasn't a thing.
See, we did both. We did my buddy had his parents had a farm, and you know how there's always that low spot in a farm where it's just like, hey, there's
Yeah.
fucking trees, because you can't grow there, because if you try growing there, it'll get too watered down. Anyways, there was this one low spot where it was like lots of trees, so we created these pathways in there, and we just had so many gun wars and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, like I do shit like that all the time.
I miss doing.
But,
I
like,
miss the idea.
The idea of being like fantasizing about owning a convenience store never crossed my mind.
No, we were legitimate looking at it like, how can we make money? Because
Yeah.
we were that poor. We were
Doing
like,
something like making a lemonade stand. I was like, nope, not interested.
No, I totally did that too. We did it. I don't remember it, but I know we did it.
Yeah, like I'd look at people doing that and be like, cool. Have fun. I'm gonna go off and
Do you think that's a certain level of privilege where you're like, I don't have to worry about making my own money right now, or at least a sense of security of not having to worry about it? Because when I was a kid, I remember distinctly not eating some nights.
I don't know. Like I'm not sure we were ever in that position, but like
Because I know you had a hard upbringing at some point. Because
yeah, like I remember times. Like I remember a time where we lived with my uncle and aunt for
Yeah.
a while. Like we didn't have a home.
which is not something most people can relate with. When we say blue collar philosophers, we're fucking really blue. Like, we don't come from my parents had everything I had, and I'm just no.
And I
we're
just decided to be a
blue.
plumber.
Yeah, I decided to be a plumber because it's good money. No, it's this is the options that I had, and I worked with what I have.
Yeah, like like we had, like my parents had a Chevy 1988 Celebrity that was our family car from as early
Hey,
as
that had a 2.8 liter or a 3.1 liter,
Yeah,
depending on what
apparently
year.
it was a pretty cool car, but like that
My
was
buddy had one of those.
yeah, that was the family car we had until I was like until I was a preteen.
Really?
Like yeah, we had one old car that was the car. Like we didn't have new fancy vehicles or anything like that until one day we were able to get like an early 2000s or like a late 90s Dodge Caravan was like the first new vehicle I ever remember getting. It was actually the first vehicle other than that Celebrity I ever even remember.
I remember the Celebrity. That was my buddy had one because his
Wait,
mom
who
had
makes
one.
the Celebrity?
Chevy
Chevy Celebrity is the same as the Chevy Cavalier, based on the same body as the Cavalier.
That
which
means nothing to me.
okay. It afterwards from Cavalier, it became a Sunfire. So when they made the body more
Okay.
sleeker, it was a Cavalier Sunfire kind of era.
All I remember about it was it was our family car. It was a 4-door sedan. We could all fit in it. That's what I remember.
Thing is, my buddy had one, and we had so much fun with it.
4 doors, but there was only 4 of you. So that's like luxury. Okay,
Oh
well,
man, do you remember those old F-150 trucks that like had like
the sideways seats.
yeah, the sideways seats in the back, or they
I've
just
been
had
in
like
those.
they just had the lean down front bench, and you had to like crawl in behind to get to the little tiny bench. in the
So-
back. I remember those.
I'll have
She
to ask
doesn't
my-
know. She's an '88 child. She barely.
I was born in 88. I do not know my vehicles, which I think is pretty fair as a woman.
You said
all
it.
of a
You said
sudden,
it.
My first car was an 88. 88? Was my car?
yeah, it was a 1988 Ford Mustang.
Ford
with a
Mustang. It was black
2.4
and yellow.
liter
It was
inline
like
four.
Bumblebee.
No, oh,
I correlated with Bumblebee because
it was
Transformers
yellow
were big.
with the black sports stripes.
Yeah.
But it was like
I did not
hand
drive
painted.
it because I had my L and was scared of driving.
I was
That's a
trying to
whole other story. And then I resold it. Maybe I bought it for $200 and I sold it for $200
yeah.
after cleaning out like the pot
Amanda,
grinder and all
you're holding the mic. It's
after like taking out the pot grinder and like
That's why.
vacuuming out all the dog
Yeah,
hair.
We did find a grinder in there.
Yeah. But I sold it to someone who was going to race it in a derby type of thing, and they couldn't spend more than $200. And I wasn't driving it anyways because I was terrified of driving, and I still have my N for all you BC/Canadians.
Was it the station wagon you said?
But I grew up with a station wagon, and when we moved to Fort St. John, it wasn't even a station wagon that we drove. It was a 6-seater car, and there were 6 of us. And I remember...
This is what the celebrity looks like.
Okay, it's like a traditional station wagon.
It's a fugly
Like-
car.
Oh, so ours didn't have a hatchback.
No, you weren't the hatchback?
So we had a station wagon while we lived in Fort St. John for a while. And I remember we were going out to Kings Valley Camp, so Rose Prairie. And I remember a truck going past us. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but we were basically in the back of the station wagon. So we were facing the back. And it had like a regular tailgate. It wasn't a hatchback. And somehow a rock came up backwards and hit the back windshield. And
Yeah, that does happen.
it shattered like safety glass. So it's like basically little cubes. And I don't even remember if my dad pulled over briefly, but basically I remember just climbing over the seat and being like, okay, we're good now. And then having to get the glass. But when we moved to Fort St. John,
That's the one.
my little sister was 4.
That's so fugly.
I would have been 8, 9. Yeah, like we used to, what is that?
That's the car.
That's a celebrity?
It was not the station wagon. I thought he had the station
No,
wagon.
not the station wagon. It was the sedan.
Oh, I was thinking.
Okay, so
my buddy
we-
had the celebrity station
We moved
wagon.
up here in a sedan, something like that. So anyways, we had an accident outside Chetwynd. My older sister...
Well, you got gashed on the chin too. Like there was like a train.
Yeah, so my older sister got flown to Vancouver. She was in Vancouver Children's. My mom broke her sternum, so she was down south with her. And I remember, like, basically, I have a scar now on the right side of my chin. But when I first got the scar, it was right under my chin. And, of course, your face grows, and so your scars move. So now it's, like, probably an inch and a half to the right of my chin. Kind of on my jawline, so I don't even think about it. But there's scars there. I remember waking up in Chetwynd Hospital, and they asked me what kind of Campbell's soup I wanted. And I'm like, well, what kind do you have? And they're like, any kind you want. And I was like 8 or 9. So I remember being
Greatest day
like,
ever.
any soup I want. And it's just Campbell's. It's not like it's Campbell's Chunky
They
or something.
just-
Because Campbell's Chunky wasn't even a thing then.
No.
But that was like 98.
no.
or 99.
How old were you?
I thought I was 9 when I was moved, but we
That would've
moved in
been
the summer, and my birthday's.
99.
I'm the only spring
No,
baby in my
98.
family, so
No, 97. if
I
you're
want to
90
say it was 98, but it might have been 97.
No, you would have been 10 or right before you turned 10 would have been 97.
I was 9 when we moved
98.
here.
Yes, but if you were about to turn 10, it could have been 98.
No, because we moved here in the summer, so I might have just
you
turned
would have been
9.
97. Anyways,
In my family, I'm the only spring baby. Everyone else was born in the fall, so it gets kind of confusing.
could you believe that people are born after the year 2000? It still bothers me.
Everyone in my family was born after 2000.
And it's wrong.
My little sister was born in 92.
I know.
I was born in 88.
She's a child. I still see her as a child.
Me or my little sister?
Not you, obviously.
Fun fact.
That would be weird.
That would be very weird.
Mike was good friends with my little sister before we were even dating.
Yes. We went to Ukraine at the same time on the same mission trip. And I was friends with her, and we were hanging out. And then,
Like-
oh,
My dear old husband here went to my little sister's 16th birthday party when I was overseas in a whole different country, and we weren't even dating yet.
don't say it like that. It makes it sound weird.
Because you were definitely much older than 16 at the time.
Oh yeah, but I was like
That
young
would have been a
adult.
statutory crime.
I wasn't there for that.
They weren't dating. They were just like,
Friends.
oh, you're cool, and you're my friend, and we
And-
are part of the same youth group, and you're my leader. Like whatever.
I was a youth leader.
Isn't youth group hilarious how it straddles like the line of okay and not okay?
Yeah. So horribly. Oh my
Anyway,
God, I'm just
moving
gonna
on.
Ignore this. And then, do you know what happened? A really funny thing. My buddy Ben, that we talked about earlier, he was like, "Hey, what do you think of your sister and Mike?" And he asked your sister, "What do you think of your sister and Mike?" I hadn't talked to her yet. I was her youth leader, but I hadn't talked to her about me dating her older sister, and that really bothered her. and she was not okay with it at the
I don't know.
moment.
I'm thinking like,
She
why would
didn't-
you?
The thing is, yeah, exactly.
Like,
Why would I?
I wouldn't ask my sister's little or like my
But-
wife's little sister for
But
permission.
Would
they
you
were the
want
ones
to-
hanging out more.
But would you want to find out through somebody else, or would you want to find out from them?
That only matters if she had a crush on you.
She probably did. Look at me. Look at me.
Well, she did marry into the families.
Yep.
She
If,
So-
if
for-
there was no crush there, that detail would not have fucking mattered.
That's right. You heard her. You heard her. She's not listening. She doesn't
So
listen to
basically,
podcasts.
the long
She's a
and short
woman.
of it is-
we have like 2 woman listeners, and one of them's here, and she listened to 1 episode.
No, I've listened to more than one episode. I just haven't listened to every episode.
Are you
Like
even
I've
a
listened,
fan?
I fully listened to your depression episode.
Not my depression. I'm not depressed.
Okay, no, but
Okay,
the one
guilty.
that was something about depression.
Deconstruction or depression? They're 2 different ones.
I haven't not listened to the deconstruction, which actually, after listening to the one with Jesse, I was like, oh, I need to go back and listen to the full episode.
Yeah.
But I gave Mike a hard time because the very first time you guys recorded, he's like, if you listen with your kids, you're a bad parent. And so I'm like,
Yes,
okay, I can't listen
stand-
with my kids.
I
And
stand
then
by
we
that.
decided that homeschooling was better than the public system. And so, like, really, when do I ever get to listen? Because the kids are always home with me.
With
Yeah.
your
and,
plugs.
and a person can't just put on your headphones for 2.5 hours.
I'm also not a headphone person.
No, she
yeah,
really
so
isn't.
yeah, and even if you were, like, you can't just do that and pay attention and ignore all the stuff going on at home because
No,
that's an active environment that you're the quarterback of.
And
Exactly.
It's called
So
neglect
today-
at that point.
I was like, I'm cleaning the bathroom.
Mike is home.
Because, yeah, Mike was home. Only one child has math to finish this week. We're not doing anything else this week. And then next week, official Christmas break begins. And I'm like, okay, kids, like, just so you know, like, I'm cleaning heavy today because I want to actually have a break.
When,
No.
when cleaning is your break, momming is hard.
She can't help but touch the mic. She just needs to grab it. and
Well,
just
no,
hold
it's
it.
because you guys are moving, and
No,
so the
you
mic
just need
is
to
shaking, and
lean
I'm
it
like,
upward
let
a
me
little.
hold it still.
Anyways, she did listen to our Jesse episode.
So I listened to the episode "Escaping Legalism." Is that what you called it?
no,
Yeah.
leaving legally.
Leaving legalism.
Yeah, because
Double
alliteration
Ls.
is
If
important.
I
Yeah.
need to be very specific when it's talking about
And
legalism,
I went to school with Jesse's wife, and so I
is
was
she a
like,
sweetheart? I assume she's a sweetheart.
she's lovely. I mean,
She is.
I haven't met her. I've
we
met
have
him.
not had any long conversations since
He seems
high
like a
school,
really nice guy.
and so, which when you think about it, high school is like 15 years ago.
I know.
Fuck,
It's
you're old.
Forever.
What's wrong with
I
you?
graduated in 06, so
Even,
right.
even so, if she's listening, you are a very lovely
For the
person.
record-
No, but that's the thing. Jesse seems like a really nice guy, so I
until-
assume his wife is very nice.
okay.
too.
But up until the recording, I thought he was the same age as his wife until I learned otherwise.
Wait, I did. Sorry.
So, okay, according
Oh.
to the recording, he said he was 38, right?
Did he?
Yeah, he's older than I am.
Yeah, but he's my age then. I don't
See,
remember.
I didn't know
don't
this.
remember
So,
anything. I
okay,
don't
so
listen to my own shit.
Jesse is 38,
All right,
like
so he's the same age as
Michael.
me.
And his wife, Randa, he didn't say his wife's name on,
And you
So,
did. So you
sorry,
just outed
Jesse.
her.
and Randa. Randa had been at Presbyterian. She came to Burt Bowes. So we first met in grade, I think, 9.
So I'm everything that Jesse could have been if he would have like not applied himself.
Well, he probably makes more money than you do.
That's why I said.
annually.
That's why I said not applied himself.
Anyways, I thought that Jesse was the same age as Randa and I because I remember when they started dating.
I gotta fix your mic. You're like
Via
keep talking
socials.
on top of it.
I
Yeah,
think
the-
it's fine.
It picks up facing you like
Oh,
Keep trying.
I can be louder. Projection is not the problem.
I know that. It's the actual placement of where your mouth is. You need to be in front of the microphone, not over top or under.
Okay.
Fucking
So I listened
this is
to
why I direct the podcast and I try and overtalk her.
I
I'm
listened
like,
to
no, you
Jesse's
need to-
episode today while I was scrubbing the bathroom on my hands and knees.
I put her on her
Yes.
knees. She didn't have to be. I
And
just
I was
made
like,
sure
Mike-
that she was.
I'm trying to clean the freaking bathroom. make sure the kids eat lunch.
So I can listen to your podcast.
Yeah.
Ungrateful bitch.
He came home from the little bit of work he had today. And
Hey.
he just stood in the bathroom doorway, and I was like,
Talking to you as a person, like treating you like a human
I was
being.
like,
You're not
and
a
he's
servant.
like, what? And I was like, I'm only 10 minutes in, and I've been interrupted at least 5 times.
See, I
I'm
feel
like,
that way at work all the time when wife calls me.
Oh. I
Don't
left
call.
immediately.
Okay, we're not talking about that today, Devin. But maybe not
Wives
recording.
never interrupt.
You can have a
They
discussion
only
with
have
Mike.
conversations.
All right. So anyway, you're listening to the podcast. What'd you think?
It was good.
I know, it's so
In-
fucking great.
In that one, it's funny because Jesse was very good at keeping you guys on track from your own rabbit holes. But at the same time, there were moments where you guys were all trying to talk,
Yeah.
which I understand when you're in the same room, but it was really confusing
Yeah.
trying to listen to
It's
it.
because
you're like, wait, what?
him and Devin sound exactly the same.
Not quite exactly.
According to
You can-
Jesse,
It's very similar. You have to think of like the way they...
I know, but there's
like,
nothing funny
I don't want to
about
say
that.
tones, but like the inferences.
Yeah,
Octave?
but that's
Are a
what
little bit
happens
different.
when you have a podcast where you don't plan anything out. Is sometimes you stumble over one other. I mean, we've done it a ton tonight, the 3 of us.
Yeah, especially for Drink Amanda.
They're not watered down. They're like solid
No,
shots
no one's
of
making-
straight liquor.
Why are you acting all attacked? No one's attacking you here.
Makes me have to pee when we talk about it.
It's all right.
I have to pee and it's your
I've had
fault.
4 kids the normal way, so
Yeah.
I feel like there's grace there.
And she's squirming now that she's thinking about it. It's really great. The
I'm
thing
just
is,
getting
this
more comfortable.
doesn't have to be a full Rogan here. We're just having a fun conversation about how
I don't
give
even know what
fucking
time it
sucks.
is.
I
Doesn't
don't me
matter.
neither. All I know is it feels late.
Oh! Sorry, I looked at the time.
It is 12:15. Okay, in all
Devin's
fairness,
in trouble. His wife's gonna be
I did
so
come-
mad.
no, I don't.
No,
it's not.
Devin's gonna be. Wife is gonna be mad.
It is not an unusual time for Devin when it's a recording night for you
No.
guys.
Yeah,
It's
but
not.
we don't normally do 2.
Your first one was shorter. I came down after 10.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm not in trouble. My wife's here.
Yeah, we live here, so it doesn't matter when we go to bed or stop recording.
I'm not in trouble. I'm not going home to problems. It's like, oh, that was a late one. Sucks to be you in the morning.
Devin
right.
is secure in his marriage, just like Mike and
No,
I.
it's you and I working together tomorrow morning.
You just start at 9 instead of 8. It's okay.
That's right.
If need be. If need be.
If need be.
If need be. Anyways, what
Where were
talking
we?
about?
We were talking about the Jesse podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it was good.
No, it
And
was
it makes
good.
me think I need to go back and listen to Devin's reconstructing
Oh, right.
because you guys referenced deconstructing.
Yeah, we referenced it a number of times.
Yeah.
We really do, and
So it is just insightful.
I do encourage
That type
people.
of thing I find intriguing.
All right, because
Getting the inside look into the psyche of Kickstand and other people.
because
And other people, because this is what happens. So you guys are like, the blue collar philosophers is your name.
she can't help but touch the mic.
I'm trying to keep it still. It was shaking around.
Touching it.
Yeah, when it shakes, it doesn't actually make a difference to your sound.
It does to me. That's all that matters. Okay, so what I used to say to Mike is, I'm willing to be on your podcast, but don't
Bombard.
sideblind me by
Blindside.
blindside. Thank you. Don't.
I did it. Right there.
No, you're just laughing.
Oh
at me.
man, we're getting loopy now. It's late.
Don't.
She
blind.
said side
blind.
blind, and I had to correct her, which blindsided
What?
her.
It's like that Sandra Bullock movie, Sideblind.
It was the 2 right words, though. I think I need points for that.
half a point.
So, because of what I know you guys discuss, I'm like, during the day, I'm just one of those people that doesn't have deep philosophical thoughts when I'm going about my day and parenting and stay-at-home mom life, like cleaning. I don't often think deep things when I'm cleaning. I'm just cleaning. I'm just moving the fridge like I did today, and I'm scrubbing the old spills and I'm taking out the magnets. You know, like I don't have deep thoughts during all those day-to-day
but
tasks.
The problem is our deep thoughts stem from, I wonder if Jesus was black and what difference it would have made. It's like not actually deep. There's nothing deep about us, obviously. We're like, hey, how would this influence any minuscule part if he was actually something, if he was a ginger? I'm pretty sure that would have a huge effect on the way that he conducts himself, especially in a Middle Eastern term.
I feel like you're trying to pick the most
sorry.
asinine
Yes,
example.
I am literally trying to do that. I'm like,
Back
okay,
in the day-
we're philosophical in the way that we will choose.
In Bible times, would that be like having an albino,
Yes.
having a redhead?
If you had a ginger in the Middle East, it'd be like, what the fuck? And then he was like, I am
I don't
the
think
savior.
it would be quite WTF material.
What I'm
Read
saying-
Jesus the Red.
Jesus the Red.
Viking style.
Oh, that would be great.
Anyways.
Could you imagine Jesus as a ginger?
I used to say to Mike, I'm like, I don't mind being on the podcast anytime. I'm much more focused than he is. Can you tell?
I don't know. Can you let go of the microphone?
You stumped her. I feel like this is a marital
said-
spat happening.
I don't mind you having me on the podcast. I just don't want you to suddenly bring up something super deep.
That we've
and-
thought about for
Yeah.
days,
Yeah,
and then
that
you're like, oh.
I'm just going to keep
That's
putting
true.
in these nails on the,
Okay, have you ever known
with a
me
nail
to-
gun.
Have you ever known me to deeply study any subject to the point of now I'm going to go stump my wife? It's
No,
not worth it. There's
I am
no
also
gain.
the person that, Mike's like, oh, tonight when we record, we're talking about this. And I'm like, don't you think you should research that a bit? And he's like,
Fuck that.
nope. We're just going to go in. And I'm like, all right.
Only women that have ever given us that criticism.
right? No
I'm
guys have been
probably
like,
one
hey,
of the
could
only
you?
women that
No.
has actually listened to a
No,
couple podcast
no,
episodes.
not true.
Teaspoon.
Okay.
Teaspoon gave that
That's
the
exactly
exact same
The
criticism.
exact same. The only criticism we get about, hey, maybe you should do more research, are women, and guys are like, this is fucking awesome. I've never had a guy come up to me and be like, hey, could you research a little more? Not one.
I mean, you wouldn't
Women,
be blue
yes.
collar philosophers if you researched everything beforehand.
I know. Then we would be white collar
So
ones.
Yeah.
it's fine. It's fine.
But
Yes,
we
it's
use-
not my podcast.
we
I'm fine
use
with
we
it.
use the word tongue in cheek.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
we're not literally sitting here thinking we're doing good philosophy. This will stand the test of time. What we're doing here is being like philosophy. You don't think we could do that shit too? Give us a couple whiskeys and we're off to the races. Like that's how we
So
use
that's
the
just
word.
it. I'm like, I don't think about these things
Okay,
on
I really...
heavily on the daily. And so I'm like, just don't make me look like an idiot
No,
because
we couldn't.
I'm not one.
We couldn't. Now, here...
Any
There's
more
a lot
than we
of
look
mom
like?
things I
That's
do
right.
that Mike's
Now-
like, wait, how
now
do you do
here's
that?
something you said. No, your uncle said to me. He said, every time Devin and I get together, we have a glass of whiskey, no, a bottle of whiskey, and we solve the world problems, and then we forget.
So which uncle said that?
I don't know, a bearded one that shows up at your place or your dad's place once in a while.
Interesting.
And he's like, every time we get together, we have a whiskey, a bottle
Is
of
it
whiskey.
a real uncle or a pseudo uncle?
Pseudo. It might be pseudo. And he says, we solve the world problems.
You're talking about Willie?
Yeah. It's a pseudo or real?
No, that's a very pseudo.
Okay.
And I think he's being very generous
Yes, I know.
in his estimation of how much we talk.
Yes, but the philosophical difference of it really hit me home. And I'm like, yeah, we solve the world's problems with one bottle of whiskey and then we forget.
The only difference is we're actually recording this so we can look back and be like, oh, wow, idiot.
No.
There are times
Only
where
if
Mike
you
has
listen.
had conversations
Only if you listen.
with like you or your father, and he's like, "Oh, like they said this," and I'm like, "How much had they drank?"
Oh yeah, there's much to be said about drinking thinking. There is, because you say one thing, like, okay, our Baja trip. Mm-hmm. One day
So
Oh, I
jealous.
know. We're sitting there dreaming about riding motorcycles
in the Baja
straight
Peninsula.
south from where we live, through California, through San Diego and Tijuana, down to the Sea of Cortez and to Cabo, San
Just
Lucas
go.
on the Baja.
It
It happens.
it happens
To the best of us. We've all been there, Amanda.
Kirk was there last week. But yeah,
Flatter of a mom.
but no, we had this dream of let's hit the Baja Peninsula.
Yeah,
and I
but-
want to.
I want you so bad, but at the same time, you're like, that's not happening anytime soon. As much as you're
I got a 3-year-old. I'm 15 years
yeah,
old.
because that trip in
Hold
and
on.
of itself.
How old could she be and me still go without affecting it? I got 12 years before I got to worry about that trip.
Yeah, because in all honesty, for us to leave from Fort St. John, British Columbia, and do that trip, like a road trip on motorcycles in a way that's not going to thrash our bodies.
All right.
That's 2 weeks down and 2 weeks up.
No, okay, no.
Like, that's a month off.
That is a month. I'm not saying it's not a month. I'm saying we have done the first 14 hours of that trip at least 4 or 5 times. And by the time the trip comes up, we have done it at least a dozen times.
But that's not the thing.
Optimistically.
But that's not the thing. It's how many, like, can you put those trips in consecutively without coming back to work?
What I'm saying is we have done the Fort St. John to American border at least 14 times. How many more times do you need to do that? We can do that one in one day.
Yep.
It's not a big deal to knock a large portion, not a short portion, a large portion of that trip. Because I guarantee the American to Baja is not what is it if you're really taking your time? A week? If you're really taking your time. So yes,
Yeah,
it's a 2-week trip. It is a
Yeah, I
2-week trip.
suppose 2 week trip if you're putting on serious kilometers every single day.
But
But are you really gonna want to do 14 hours on a bike every day?
not on the way back. On the first day, yes.
Yeah, first day you
Guaranteed, first day.
get through what you've seen every day. But you're also the further south you get, the more you're dealing with traffic. The
Yes.
more you're dealing with higher density populations.
But I do look forward to hitting up Oregon. I do look forward to hitting up Washington and Oregon, Washington, California, Northern California especially. I'd love to hit that because from what I've seen geographically, looking at the maps and everything of the roads that are heading towards the Baja Peninsula,
Yeah.
that looks like a fun ride.
And the point remains the same. To do that trip on motorcycles and to really experience it,
2 weeks.
yeah, it's
3 max. I'm
like,
sorry,
it-
3 max. On the
it-
way back, you could stall it out,
yeah, but it's gonna take time. But that's time that you are taking away from your job. It's time that you're taking away from family, from kids, from all that stuff. Like that is
And that-
for guys with young families,
yeah,
it's
that's
not in the cards.
And also, you need to make your motorcycle as reliable as it can be. You need to have ridden that motorcycle into the way that you know what is going to go wrong and what could go wrong in that time. Because if you're riding it and you're like, okay, this bike is pristine. Because if you go into the bike knowing, my bike right now, it's got valve issues that I can hear ticking. I know that's a problem that's going to be coming up. Do I want to take a road trip that long with it? No. Seals on the front forks. No, I don't want to touch that. Like going into the trip the way that it is.
I'm laughing because I'm back, and you guys in 2 minutes that I took to pee. It's like motorcycle talk.
Yeah.
No, we were talking about the Baja Peninsula trip, and we're talking about how
Okay.
long it will take, how long you want to take from it, take away from your family and your kids. Yes, for the next 15 years, I'm missing a lot. Especially, I'm sorry, but at least I don't want to miss that much. Because teenagehood is terrifying enough as it is without me being there.
I don't know. You may find it easier when she's a teenager.
I hope so.
To be able to.
Okay, I'm sorry.
To take an extended. But but still not that much. Still not that much.
You had a sister that was relatively good looking.
Okay,
Hold on.
he still has a sister.
Yes, but
Okay.
she's a mom now.
She's
It
making-
doesn't
She
still
count.
exists.
She does have the sister exists.
It's
but
worth
she's a mom
clarifying.
now.
Do they not count when they're off the market to you, or what?
Nope. They do not count. They are nobodies. So what I'm saying is, between the ages of 15 and 18, would you, as a dad, leave a girl like your sister alone even for 3 weeks? Maybe, let's just say a month. Let's just say 4 weeks.
I'm not denying. I didn't say that. I didn't say
If-
that.
if you were
this
your
is
dad-
the trip that could happen. But I'm just saying, you may find more freedom when they're older, but
Yes.
still not to that level.
No.
Like that's not happening for us until our kids are out of school.
Yeah. And so,
We'll just be honest.
yeah. We're being very honest, and no
I don't
offense to
know.
you.
In
And
10 years, our youngest will be 13.
I'm not trying to speak negatively of your sister, but she was a very good-looking girl at that time, and I wouldn't want to leave. If my daughters were as good-looking as your sister was at that time, I'm not fucking taking a summer to go anywhere. I'm like, no, I need to be home. Because if shit goes wrong here, I need to go fucking deal with business. I need to go make sure that my daughters are taken care of. I need to make sure that at least Gideon's capable of taking care of it while I'm gone. So I'm like, no, she's too good looking of a, not your sister, but my daughters, in worrying that they look anything like your sister.
Yeah, I think
I need to make sure that they are protected in a way that I'm not here to do it.
I don't know. I think there's something to be said with knowing your kids.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
it's too far removed at this point.
Right. Like, how do you know what kind of person they're gonna be already?
Yeah.
10 years from now.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to say because, like, my sister was a wild child.
That's what I'm worried about.
Like, she was. It's
Was-
her,
but are my kids going to be a
her
wild
character.
child?
Is that going to be their character? Because, like, I know
Who knows?
Yeah, for me, like, my parents could.
Your parents could leave for 2 months.
Take
and you'd
off for
have-
2 months, and there wouldn't be a problem at all. It's not my character, and it's
No.
not just because I'm a dude. It's not just because I'm the oldest. It's just
No.
because that's who I am as a person. There's plenty of other
You-
teenage dudes that would have been like, "All right, we're fucking this place up. Let's do this."
You would be like, all right, I know that I've never been allowed, but tonight, Dungeons and Dragons. I've never been allowed.
You know, even if it wasn't that, it would have been bonfires in the backyard
Yeah.
with the good friends. Like it,
Yeah.
it's just the party scene never
Yeah.
appealed
We're
to
just
me.
like the last good people, Devin.
Oh, we're the. I'm sorry, but when I was a teenager,
I wasn't
I'm like,
good. I was calm.
my
and
parents left town,
but I was
and
very
I'm.
much the same. Like my first thought, if my parents like were away or something. I mean, I don't think they ever left us away because I had younger siblings. But it wasn't ever like, oh, let's go do this crazy rebellious thing. Like I was just such a good kid. Like I was such a rule follower. Which I mean, I still kind of am.
She taught herself. She potty trained herself. Everybody.
Yeah.
Yep. I need to bring that up because she's on her phone and she has no reason
But,
not
like,
to.
It's entirely possible that
Yeah,
Elise
no.
is just like that, and the time's gonna come. You'll be like, "Oh, frick yeah,
Yeah.
the time's right. I can do
Yes,
this."
Maybe there is a chance. I'm not saying there's not a chance. I'm just saying, like, okay, if I'm going to take that into consideration, I'm at least 15 years minimum. Yeah, minimum for being able to take a trip like that. And that highway. Could you imagine how pristine the roads are going to be in that time?
Unless you make a deal with Amanda, she's like, "No, I'll watch the kids," but believe me, that receipt's coming along for freedom on my end, baby.
I've done that a lot the last couple of years, and
I think there's a lot of receipts
I'm
coming.
sorry. I have done my best to like push you into like, hey, you want to go say Mamma Mia, which I have zero interest in seeing, and it's like an ABBA musical bullshit thing that I don't care anything about. But
I
you
did
love
have
ABBA,
one
and
child.
you went
because
I'm literally pushing it. I'm like, hey, this is something you'll love.
Okay.
You don't know that you'll love it, but you will.
Okay.
She grabbed the mic again. I'm just gonna point it out every time now.
it's because I'm getting serious about talking here.
Oh yeah, it's Amanda time, baby.
Okay, ABBA was in Dawson Creek way back when I only had one child, and so it felt like more effort to even go. Then it's like, okay, then you got to pay for your ticket. I got to arrange a ride because I didn't drive then.
Yeah.
So I had to get a ride with someone
Yeah,
else.
and I tried
So
to
yes,
organize
I
that
did
too.
have a great time and a fun
I
time.
tried to organize. I
But-
made sure that you had no way.
Okay, let the record stand that you don't still initiate organizing the babysitter. You're like, yeah, you should go do that thing, and then I still have to organize it all for myself.
No,
that's not
no,
relaxing.
No, I watched the kids on that one.
Grocery shopping by myself is not like, yes, it's a
No,
break from the kids.
no.
Can I
But it's not
can
a
I
true
interject
break.
and say something?
I
Yes,
hope so.
marriage counsel us.
Whether you're a dude or you're a chick, doing cool shit isn't relaxing. It's always effort for the payoff. It's not it's not a vacation to go on an epic motorcycle trip. You come back fucking tired,
Oh yeah,
and you're like, "Wow, that was a lot of effort," but I'm glad I did it. But like that's like the stuff that we're doing. We're like, okay,
That is true.
like this isn't vacation, at least not the way of like just sitting there oosawing from our stress of work or anything like that. We're like, no, we need to fucking release. Like, but it's
Yeah.
gonna take effort and planning and some like inconvenience to make this happen.
Yeah.
All right, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Right, like the last time that Mike and I experienced that was riding on the motorcycle.
Yeah, like
instead of
right
taking
before
a
you did
vehicle
Right to,
the last-
right
down
to a
to my
funeral.
grandpa's funeral in September.
But-
So the weather's still great in Chilliwack. September in Fort St. John is starting to get cold. Like we came back
Through
Maybe-
adversity.
maybe around like 6:30 or something, and I had to go still pick tomatoes so that they wouldn't freeze overnight because that was our first frozen night. Which people who don't live in the north don't understand, but people who live up here are like, oh yeah, I get that. Like
Yeah, you don't want to let your hard-earned tomatoes go to waste because you skipped that night.
because
Yeah.
it already takes long enough to grow them up here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You don't
But-
get 2 seasons.
But yeah, like
Yeah.
as much as I was very tired when we came back, I was happy to be off the bike. I'm so glad we went in the bike
Yeah.
too,
Oh yeah.
because
I have mentioned if
when I made goals for 2022, like I wanted us to be able to go on a couples trip,
I
and we
do
hadn't
hate
been able to make
saying
it happen.
This the way that it's going to sound, but if you had listened to the podcast, you would hear that I mentioned that the bike trip was your idea and us going was your idea. I almost regret doing it the way that we did, but I'm super glad that we did it the way that you suggested because we got to do a trip that I know you wanted to take. And I did say it on the last one. I said it on the one before, I'm pretty sure, because it was that memorable and that awesome of a trip that if it was up to me, we probably wouldn't have made it the way that we did.
Yeah,
Honestly.
like, being relaxed, do the easy thing. It's good when you need to relax, but it doesn't lend itself to, oh man, this is cool shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Like
just-
going
it's-
to a concert, yeah, it's effort.
Well-
it's like you know, when I want to go to a concert, I'm like, oh man, like yeah, I got to drive all the way to Dawson, got to buy tickets, got to do stuff, got to come back. There's no hotel getting, so I can't get smashed while I'm there.
No.
You know, got to work things out, make sure it's okay with the wife. Is the finances work? I mean, like it's stressful being like,
it's
I want to
not
go
easy.
do
And
a
that's
cool
if
thing.
the concert's only in Dawson.
Yeah, if
it's
that.
further. So Dawson's 45 minutes away from us.
But if it's Edmonton or
you're
if it's
not local.
Vancouver, that's even another
or
level.
even
So you're
Grand
like,
Prairie, right?
is the payoff worth doing this? And sometimes you think, no, it's not. It's not very relaxing. But sometimes you're like, no, fuck being worth it. I'm doing it anyway, and I'm
Yeah.
going to love it on the other end. And then
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah, it's loving something on the back end.
I'm
And
in
it's-
this. I'm in this stage personally where if I get a break from the kids, it kind of is a new type of relaxing because you just have adult conversation.
Well, even
It's
look at what we're doing right
Like
here. This
the
is
packing and then the like trying to get my house ready for whoever's watching the kids. Like that's a different kind of stress. But knowing I'm only packing for Mike and I, and I mean, at the best of times he packs for himself too. You know,
she
like
makes me sound hyper incompetent, like I don't pack for myself.
Oh, friggin' A. Like, you know, it's weird. Like when
Women
it,
pack
when it
so
comes to
much
going
shit.
when it comes to going on a motorcycle trip, I'm like, I know how to put together my bike.
Oh, yeah.
I know how to get that all together, do it. But when it comes to like going on a trip, like in the car with the wife and the kid and stuff like that, I'm like, no, I'm out. Because the way you want to do this is so far beyond like
Necessary. It's almost beyond necessary.
But
I'm
even-
sorry.
but
on a
even-
motorcycle trip,
Yeah.
guess what I'm wearing? I'm wearing my cleanest, oldest underwear, closest to holes.
But
Guess
even
what
when
I'm-
even when it is reasonable, like even when it's reasonable and you know she's pared it down to something that's just like this is sane, I'm still like, you've got a special way you want everything to be. You've got this
Yeah.
person's clothes with that with that. Like I can't actually contribute with this without first checking.
Yep.
So why am I even bothering? Because you know you're taking as much time explaining from this as you're doing, and you're getting annoyed, and
I
I'm getting
laugh.
annoyed.
You
Because I
laugh
know your
because you
wife.
know. Yes.
Yeah.
But on a motorcycle trip, guess what I'm wearing so that I have as little laundry to do? I'm wearing the holiest socks. I'm wearing the holiest of holy underwears because as soon as I wear it, guess where it's fucking going? In the trash.
Yeah, that's how
So
I
I
do
don't
too.
have to bring it
but
back.
That's on my suggestion.
Yeah.
I'm the one that
No.
has said on trips, take your crappiest stuff and you
Yes.
can just throw it out.
Yes.
Along
and then
the way.
what do I have?
In all
One pair of
honesty,
jeans,
that's an old biker trick. That's
Yeah.
an old biker trick.
One pair of jeans.
It's like, yeah,
couple
it's
clean
like throwing
shirts.
this in the fire or in the garbage, new ones, because I'm not throwing the underwear that went through 14 hours of sitting on hot leather, into the bag that has all my clean clothes in it, because it's all gonna smell like ass sweat.
No,
So-
you just throw in the dirty shit.
We figured that
burn
one
it.
out.
So Mike is the type of guy that's like, oh, I'll be gone the weekend. I only need one spare pair of underwear. And I'm like, no, bring enough socks and underwear for every day. I'm like, I don't mind if you throw them out, but you need fresh. Like, come on.
Yeah. But the thing is, even a pair of jeans, how many pairs of jeans do you need for a ride? Nice weather. You know it's going to be half
For a
decent.
ride, like 3 nights? Maybe
Yes.
like over the weekend?
3 days.
I will usually bring 2 pairs because
Okay.
It's
Like
it's
what
re-
you're
it's
wearing in a
really-
spare.
yeah, what I'm wearing in a spare,
But-
because it's really hard not to hit rain if you're gone for any
Yeah.
amount of time.
But jeans, pants, 3 pairs?
But no, not 3.
No, he said 2.
I have
2 pairs.
the pair
That's
I'm wearing
fine.
and an extra. Because
Yeah.
if these get soaked to the bone, I've got one to change
Yeah.
into for the next day
That's it. That's
while
all you
these
need.
ones dry.
But
Sure.
if it's 2, possibly 3 nights, then you got to pack 3 pairs of socks
No,
and 3
for-
pairs of underwear. That's what I think.
Oh, yeah, underwear, because you can always throw it out or even just bag it and just seal it real
Bag and tag it.
good. If it's nice underwear like Saks, which I don't have any of because, fuck, what do I look like? Gold? I've heard good things about Saks.
Even I am too practical to just buy my husband a pair of Saks.
Like, I'm sorry, $45 for a pair of underwear? That's what they were going for.
Are you
for a while.
serious?
For
Well,
a
when they
while
were brand
there.
new. I think now you can get a 3-pack for $45.
Yeah.
Still, $45 for a
Even that,
3-pack?
I'm like, what's the biggest amount
How?
of underwear I can get from Walmart for $10?
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Like,
but
how
my
nicely
sack
do
is
they truly hold your junk?
like how nice do I need them to hold my junk? I'm sorry.
It better damn well massage it for that price.
If I'm not getting it handy every night for my underwear, I don't care.
Like-
I'm not done.
I'm sure we can ask what I'm sure we can ask Bam or Travis how much a hooker costs. You could like divide that by how much you spend on underwear for the year and
So-
how worth it is Saks.
So okay, a little while ago. I'm sorry, but we're gonna divert from the whole.
We've been diverting all night. You don't have to
I know.
apologize.
We started wanting to talk about Christmas presents.
Yes.
How did that fucking go?
doesn't matter. All right. At one point
Tangent
during the
about
Stephen
overseas,
and
a
Nigel,
tangent about- okay,
during the
Nigel.
Stephen and Nigel episode, we talked about the cost of a hooker at one point, and it was like, oh, $10 for a BJ. And I'm like, that's a great price. And I realized something. I don't know a good price.
You could be
I'm like,
totally talking out your ass on that one.
I don't even know if $10 would be enough for me to give you one.
right? That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so yeah, you base that on about how
Upon how much it would cost
how
me.
much
'Cause so
how
far
much
it's
would it
cost
cost
me every.
you to do it? How much do you figure it would cost your wife to do it? Like that probably give you a good
The thing is,
ballpark about what's
okay.
expensive or not.
All right, so how much would it cost me? Well, fucking a lot. Because if I say $100,000, somebody would be like, "I got $100,000." I'm like, "Fuck." Now I'm gonna do it. And then there was like, "How much would I pay my wife?" And I'm like, "Well, more than 10," which I've never had to pay, except for everything. So it was a really weird thing to say because I had
But
to
if it's
actually
an
think about it
itemized
afterwards.
list, if it's itemized, you haven't had to pay.
Yes, so far it's just cost me my entire life.
Since we started having children,
It still cost me
I have
nothing.
been home.
Why you gotta? I was willing to let it die.
this is getting weird, man.
Anyways, I just thought it was very funny. So if you guys will go back and listen to our Stephen and Nigel episode, I just realized that I said that, and I'm like, I have no frame of reference. Why would I even start? But it's just because it's funny. Just as this is
Oh my
very
goodness.
funny. Hey, you made it weird.
Oh, apparently it's all my fault. This
Yeah.
is not my podcast.
Oh, you
I thought
lead
you're-
everything. You always lead everything. Why did you interrupt so much? This is not my podcast. This is why I fucking leave.
Every single one of those points is valid.
Oh, I think we
Oh,
should
this is
fucking
good.
call
Yeah,
it.
I
You
need
want
to
to call
go
it?
home.
You need to go home. I need to go to my
What
wife.
are you even gonna go to my wife?
All right, guys.
We're 6 feet apart.
If you've put up with this podcast up to this point, you're a true trooper, and
Super fan, really.
yeah,
Bonus points.
Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah, happy New Year.
Have fun not keeping your resolutions. Peace.
God bless. Don't be a dick. Thank you from Kirk the Ripper Wells at Liquid State Audio. He is a guitarist, producer, and mixing engineer. Thank you from the Blue Collar Floppers.
Hi, Kirk!